Welcome everyone, I'm Dale and this is Cinema Historia. A showgirl stranded in Paris, a rainstorm, and a dashing young taxi driver. This week we're going back to 1939 for a screwball comedy called Midnight, starring Claudette Colbert, Don Amici, John Barrymore, and Mary Astor. And this is directed by Mitchell Leisen. So, where does our story begin this week? Well, our story begins on a rainy night in Paris, France. American showgirl Eve Peabody, played by Claudette Colbert, a stowaway on a train, arrives in Paris from Monte Carlo during a rainstorm with nothing but the evening gown she's wearing. With no money and no place to stay, she persuades handsome, soft-hearted Hungarian taxi driver Tibor Czerny, played by Don Amici, to drive her to local nightclubs to look for a job. Offering to double his fare upon finding a job, Tibor drives her to such clubs as Bal Tabren and the Chi Chi Tavern, all being unsuccessful in her search. Feeling sorry for her, Tibor buys her dinner and offers to let her stay overnight in his apartment while he finishes his night shift. While pulling over to refuel, though attracted to Tibor, she feels nervous about his offer and slips away. Seeking shelter from the rain, Eve uses her municipal pawn shop Monte Carlo suitcase card and sneaks into a black tie classical concert. Stephanie, the hostess, learns that someone got in using a pawn ticket, and the search for an imposter begins. Trying to slip away, Eve is intercepted by Marcel, needing another partner, invites her to play bridge in another room. The other players, Madame Helena Flammarion, played by Mary Astor, and Jacques Picot, a wealthy ladies' man. Eve, introducing herself as Madame Czerny, is partnered with the intriguing Jacques. Helena's husband, Georges, played by John Barrymore, enters the room, knowing Eve is the gatecrasher, plays along, stating she is the wife of Baron Czerny. Georges, knowing his wife Helena has been having an affair with Jacques, sees that Jacques has turned his attention to Eve and comes up with a plan. Receiving 10,000 francs from Georges and a lavish suite at the Ritz Hotel, Eve's job now is to win over Jacques so Georges can reclaim his wife. Meanwhile, a broken-hearted Tibor recruits his fellow taxi drivers by organizing a pool where everyone puts in 5 francs, and whoever finds Eve wins the money. So, does Eve get used to her lavish new lifestyle? Does Georges sweep his wife Helena off her feet once more? Or does a dashing taxi driver write his own Cinderella Story? The screenplay was written by Charles Brackett and Billy Wilder, and the film was included among the American Film Institute's 2000 list of the top 100 funniest American movies and its 2002 list of the top 100 American greatest love stories movies. With a 93% rating from the film critic Rotten Tomatoes, this film was selected in 2013 for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally and historically significant. And I would totally agree with that. This movie is a lot of fun. And our trivia question this week: did someone drive a unique vehicle in our film? Did someone drive a unique vehicle in our film? So, a little more history and the answer to our trivia question coming up next. Now, since our film is titled Midnight and we're drawing near to midnight celebrations, this week's history is about New Year's Eve. So in the Gregorian calendar, New Year's Eve, also known as Old Year's Day or St. Sylvester's Day in many countries, is the evening or the entire day of the last day of the year, December 31st. In many countries, New Year's Eve is celebrated with dancing, eating, drinking, and watching or lighting fireworks. In England, as called Old Year's Night, the most prominent celebration is that of central London, with major firework displays being launched nearby at the London Eye Ferris wheel. In Scotland, New Year's is celebrated with several different customs, such as first footing. This involves friends or family going to each other's houses with a gift of whiskey and sometimes a lump of coal. At Edinburgh Castle, at the stroke of midnight, the cannon is fired. Traditions and celebrations in Canada focus on gatherings and public celebration, including concerts and firework displays. The CBC's English and French language television networks air sketch comedy specials on New Year's Eve, lampooning news stories of the year. And the Royal Canadian Air Farce is a popular comedy troupe broadcasted annually on the radio. In the United States, the ball drop at New York Times Square, where an 11,875-pound 12-foot ball is lowered down a 70-foot pole on the roof of one Times Square, is a popular large-scale social gathering. The event has been held since 1907, and the ball itself, which is adorned with Waterford crystal panels and an LED lighting system, has been displayed atop the building year-round since 2009. Guy Lombardo's band, the Royal Canadians, did an annual radio broadcast from New York City beginning in 1929. And following Lombardo's death, Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve premiered on NBC in 1973, and became the dominant New Year's Eve special, running for 32 straight years. And Auld Lang Syne, yes, everyone's favorite song, traditionally sung to bid farewell to the old year at the stroke of midnight, was a Scots language poem written by Robert Burns in 1788. The first documented use of the melody commonly used today was in 1799 in the second volume of George Thompson's Select Songs of Scotland. This traditional New Year's Eve tune quickly became a Scots custom that soon spread to the British Isles and eventually to other parts of the world. Interesting. And the answer to our trivia question this week: did someone drive a unique vehicle in our film? Yes. Tibor Tierney's taxi cab was a Peugeot 402. The 402 was a large family car produced in France from 1935 to 1942 by Peugeot. It was unveiled at the Paris Motor Show in 1935, replacing the Peugeot 401. With approximately 75,000 produced, the 402 was characterized by what became during the 1930s a unique Peugeot front end, with the headlights well set back behind the grille. The body style was directly modeled after the Chrysler Airflow, a revolutionary design at the time. Pretty cool. I'd like to give out a big thank you to my viewers and subscribers for an enjoyable year. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And one final quote. In our film, Claudette Colbert states that every Cinderella has her midnight, a nod to both the title of the film and the fairy tale which the film is loosely based on. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope to see you back next year.
Before we go any further, I'd like your attention one moment more. Is there anybody in this room named Eve Peabody? No? Well, does anyone here know a Miss Eve Peabody?